What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Been There Doing That podcast in what will definitely be my most uncomfortable episode yet because we got Sadie here, who is my longtime friend, tattoo artist, and just all-around great person. And she's currently stabbing me as we prepare to introduce her and get kicked off with this thing. So what's up, Sadie? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Ben, you just sat for how long? What was that?
45 minutes.
About 45 minutes while I got to use a machine, a tattoo machine versus the hand poking.
I'm a guinea pig.
So right now I am learning machine. It has a very steep learning curve. So I have been hand poking for years.
It feels kind of like nothing. You know, this is a very different feeling for me. I'm used to getting
Have you ever been hand poked?
No, this is my first hand poke. So we're having a new experience all around. You did some of your first machine work. I'm getting hand poked. And it's just a nice, light, tingly experience.
Yeah.
Before we jump into your journey here, I want to start with this. We've been friends for what? Over 20 years? We were little kids together. We grew up together.
We sure did.
What's your favorite memory with me?
I know. I can't believe you just asked that.
I just started strong.
This is really strong. I'll keep it PG.
Yeah,
no, I'm
keep
kidding.
it podcast
Oh,
friendly.
we'll keep it podcast
No
friendly.
stick fights or spit wars.
Oh, I was gonna go stick fight.
Okay, all right.
I was gonna go stick fight.
Wow, then you could tell us.
So, yeah, like when we were probably I feel like our relationship really bloomed when we were 11.
11 was a good year,
And
you know.
it's because I have this, actually one of my favorite memories is you getting to go see Taking Back Sunday.
In 6th grade.
In
It was
6th
my
grade.
first concert ever. Taking Back Sunday,
Yep.
Saves the Day in Monine. We saw him at Asbury Park Convention Hall. It was Dana's birthday.
It was Dana's birthday.
It was so epic. I've loved Taking Back Sunday ever since.
I just remember, like, at the time, the world was so different. Like, if you were a punk, you couldn't, like, rap. Do you remember that?
Yeah, true.
If you liked rap,
you can't spell rap without
crap.
You can't spell
Kids
crap
like
without rap.
There was this whole, like, unspoken, well, very spoken beef between, like, genres. And, like, when we were in 6th grade, I was like, I'm punk.
I would not do that hip hop shit.
I shop at Hot Topic. My first CD I ever bought was Sum 41.
Was it All Killer No Filler?
Yes. No, it was Does This Look Infected?
Oh, that's after All Killer No. So you were after Fat
I was.
Lip.
See, I'm still a poser.
Because I'm in too deep. All right. Tell the stick thing, and then we're gonna tell.
Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah. Okay. So I brought that up because I feel like we were very much talking about music, and he was punk, and I was, whatever. So me and my like punk friends, there were two other girls. We would all hang out, and we'd go to the park.
Black hair, you need to.
Oh yeah, like the whole thing. Like I didn't have black hair at the time.
Didn't you at some point have black hair?
That was high school. But I would wear like chains and shit. So we just had this like weird beef between us because they were more punk than us. We were just girls.
We were just girls.
We were girls. Name 3 bands. Name 3 songs. Name 3 songs.
Name a girl. Name a woman.
Name a woman. Name a woman. And so we would. So anyway, we would like all meet at the park, fucking Admiral Farragut.
Oh yeah.
And
Pine Beach, shout out.
I don't even know why. We were just like, okay, we're battling.
And it wasn't like even teams. It wasn't like a couple guys go with a couple girls. It was like guys versus girls.
It was guys versus girls.
We were relentless.
Relentless.
I don't think you could do that this day and age. I think you get canceled even if you're a kid.
Yeah.
But back then, it was like if you got a stick in your hand and you're on the other side of the battlefield, man, woman, robot, alien,
matter.
you're getting
Honestly,
cracked.
that's equality.
That's true equality. We treated you like equals. We hit you guys with sticks.
Yeah, they were relentless. And like on the reason I brought up the hot topic thing is because I used to the hot pocket.
You're hungry, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm starving. No, it's like I would wear like those like oversized pants with like the cutoff.
The Jinko.
So my ankles were exposed, and I remember this because you would whip the sticks. Like you would come at me with a stick and fucking whip my ankles.
I'm sure you deserved it.
I'm sure I deserved it.
You were asking for it.
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
I do, and I have this one memory too, where like the girls are like walking up the hill, and we get above it. Yeah, we get above the hill, and we don't see them, the men, the boys, the 11-year-old boys.
We were boys.
And they all like come out of the trees.
Oh yeah,
with pine
surprise
cones.
attack. That was.
And then you threw pine cones at us, and we had to retreat over the hill.
Guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, it was
true
crazy.
Guerrilla warfare.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what kids used to do before phones.
Before now you have apps. I don't even think kids go outside anymore. They really should get outside.
Yeah.
I think there should be mandatory 3 to 5 hours outside every day, no matter what the weather is.
Yeah.
And that teaches you how to be tough in survival.
Yeah, and like we biked a lot too. I was a big biker. Didn't you fruit roll? Didn't you?
Fruit roll?
Were you like a rollerblader?
I bladed for like a minute.
But no, you're
then
more of a
ultimately
skater.
I landed in my skating.
Yeah,
I
that's
got
true.
comfy
You're
with the
skater.
skating thing.
Yeah,
all right? We
yeah.
landed there, which is funny because you're tattooing right above the epic, but it did happen tattoo.
That is
that
but
actually
it did
really
happen.
ties into.
This is all tying together.
So the tattoo Sadie's doing on me right now is logs on fire. We thought of this last night when we were out drinking with some friends, and also one of the logs is a TNT stick, which
For no reason.
was my beer-fueled idea.
Beautiful beer-fueled idea.
I really like where we're going with it. It's very cool, and the fire is relevant because we grew up. Sadie knows I'm very passionate about
Fire.
starting fires,
Building fires.
and when it's my fire, I don't like people really fucking with it.
It's very true.
Tim, my dad, he likes to touch the fire a lot too, and we both yell at each other like, "Don't move it there." We're very judgmental. So Sadie knows how important that is. And then
Tell them about
tradish?
Christmas Eve. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got a tradition going on where on Christmas Eve,
In the morning.
10
10 a.m.
we have a fire in my backyard.
Yes, we
pending
do.
weather, but weather's been good for us for a couple of years. And then we make pork roll over the open flame. If you're not from New Jersey, you probably don't know what pork roll is. All you need to know is the best breakfast meat they have available in the world.
In the whole world.
In the entire universe.
Don't ask me what it's made out of. I have no
It's
fucking
made of
idea.
stuff, and you put it over an open flame.
It's made of the soul of New Jersey.
It's made of the Garden State.
It's the Garden State.
It's the Garden State in meat form.
In a roll.
So we have a fire. We cook some pork roll.
Yeah.
And then have the Sammys, and and have a couple of beers, and that's our Christmas Eve.
Yeah, and
So
we're like a few years strong.
we are a few years strong. So with that,
So now we have this
now
fire.
we have this fire that you're putting on me permanently.
Yeah.
The fire that burns the thigh.
Right.
The thigh burning fire pit. Fire pit.
Fire pit.
Fire, yo. It's
We have a fire
it's
pit.
a campfire.
This is also something that, like, if you're friends with Ben, you'll like pick up on this. It's Spencer's Yorkshire.
Yes, I
and
make
like
up words.
all we like to do is, man, if we can make
If we
two
can
words
make-
one,
That's the best
That's
thing. That is the
peak.
good stuff. That is
Peak.
the good stuff.
we are winning.
Yeah, so we got the fire pit. I'm very happy about that. So good reflection. Let's jump into you a little bit.
Okay.
You've been an artist for a very long time before you started dabbling in the tattoo world.
Mm-hmm.
You dabbled in the business world. You traveled the world. So let's start with the art thing.
Okay.
When did you start doing art? When did you realize this was something
Yeah.
you really loved? And I'll start there.
Yeah, it's a great story. My mom fucking killed it. My mom realized when I was really young, maybe like 8, I think it was 8 or 9, that I liked art. I was good at it, or at least it like kept me sitting in one place.
Right.
That's what
She's not moving. Let's double down.
This is something she can excel at. So she put me, and I still laugh about this. She put me in an adult oil painting class
So, how
in
old were
Island
you?
Heights.
How old were you?
I was
Oh,
9.
wait.
Remember I was in the school newspaper?
I think I went to one of those oil painting spots in Island Heights.
I'm
Did
sure.
you draw on the log, like the wood thing?
So that's for kids.
Yeah, I was in the kids'
Yeah,
one.
that's normal. Yeah, you do crafts.
Yeah, I did a craft.
Yeah, my mom didn't do that. She put me in the oil painting
The
class.
oil? Dude.
It's ancient, like
Ancient oil.
Ancient, like the most ancient form of painting, and she just like she figured it out, man. So I was the youngest one in the class, and I had this teacher, and she was probably in her 60s, 70s, and she really took to me and made sure I was like learning very classic oil painting. I was only allowed.
Pretty good from the start.
I was pretty good from the start. Yeah, I remember my first painting was like really good, and my mom was like, "Oh, this is working."
You're like, whoa.
But it would go once a week for 2 hours. We weren't allowed to sit. You had to earn your seat. You had to stand.
I remember when I went to one of these places, I think it's probably the same spot as you, the sink when you go to wash your hands after, they didn't have hot water. It was the ice coldest
Oh
water
my
of
God.
all time. I'll never forget the freezing cold feeling on my hands.
There's
to
nothing
this day.
worse.
It's just, ah.
It's the worst. I had to do still life for years. So like I wasn't. So the place had still life set up all the way around.
What is that?
Let's clarify what a still life
I'm a
is.
dummy. Let me ask for the audience, but really for myself.
For the audience, still life is like basically like a little. It's a drawing from life, right? So like a lot of the times people will set up like a little picture and some fruit and a flower.
Okay, yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Those. Yep.
And so like that's kind of like your basics. And so she was really adamant about us like nailing that. And so for years I was only allowed to do still life, and I would be like, "Can I please do a landscape? I really want to do a landscape or the ocean." And she was like, "Nope,
an apple. How about a pear?
Yes,
you get a banana today.
That's correct." So we did a lot of that, and then one day I was able to do like landscapes and fun stuff, and it would be every other. Okay, you can do a landscape, but then you gotta go do a still life.
Kind of like my podcast, where every other I get a guest,
That's
but then
right.
one is just me.
Yeah. Exactly. It's exactly the same.
Like everything is about you, Ben.
I was literally just thinking, I'm like, yeah, Ben, it's the same thing. Exactly the same.
That ties back somehow.
Yeah, so we did that. So I did that for years. I got to teach a summer class when I was 17.
Oh, so okay, so you're teaching then.
I got to teach eventually.
At the same place?
Same place, yeah.
Nice.
And that was kind of where I was like, okay, maybe I'll be an art teacher. So
okay, so your
that's
first
where it all
idea of a
starts.
career was art teacher, never thinking tattoo at that point?
Never, no. I had no, I designed a tattoo for, the adults would see me like doing oil paintings and they'd be like, oh, look, can you draw me a tattoo? And I like drew this person's like a little moon and a star. I am 100% confident they walked in the tattoo shop, they already had a moon and a star. You know what I'm saying? But like,
Right.
I remember people telling me that and I was like, no, I don't want to ever like do permanent stuff on people. Like that really scared me. So, and then I, back then, like, did not think I could be an artist as like a job, right? Like that was just,
this is my hobby.
It was never an option. So I was like, well, if I'm going to go to college and be in debt for the rest of my life, I'm going to at least enjoy it. So I'll go for art teaching. I'll get to do art. And I really wasn't thinking about the outcome of being a teacher. It was just like, how do I get a real job with art?
Right.
And it was
so
because
you're kind of exploring, and you're at this point you're in the exploratory where most people in college are just trying to figure out what to do with your life. You weren't very clear on a direct path. You just kind of felt that it should be art related and just exploring.
But I didn't think I was good enough to do anything but teach. I mean, like teaching was just like an option. Like it was just the option. And then I started teaching and I fucking hated it. I was like, I did like one.
Who were you what age group?
So they do like when you're in college, they make you do like all your practicums and stuff in like all ages. Right. So I did like a little bit of like the kiddos, and then I ended up doing like my student teaching at a high school. And I just really...
Were they just little shitheads or
Oh,
what?
man. And I look young, man. Like, I just...
Were they just ripping on you?
It's brutal.
It's brutal out there. You're like, fuck this life.
Exactly. So anyway, like, I knew I didn't like it. However, at this point, I had studied abroad for 3 months. And I met a couple that had teaching degrees that paid off their student loans by moving to Korea.
Ah, okay. So this takes us to the Korean adventure.
Right. So by the time I realized I didn't want to be a teacher, I was already set on moving to Korea.
So all right. And where did you meet these people?
At a bar in Prague.
In Prague. Okay. See, this is the thing. I talked about this in my last episode. It's just like you just got to follow a trail of what feels right in your gut, and like the path opens up to you.
Yeah.
Because like just meeting people, taking the chance to go to Prague, all that, and then like that opens up a new window for you.
Yep.
So it's not always about knowing what you want from the start, but it's just about having an open heart and mind to what is possible.
Yeah.
Follow your intuition.
And then that's really how it all happens for everybody, right? And so like I'm like, all right, I have a teaching degree. You can talk to your clients too. Like, don't feel like you need to whisper. Okay, I just want you to know.
I plan on talking to her.
All right,
Yeah,
I was
we'll
like,
be
I just
talking.
want you to know.
It's all right, we got mics real close to our face,
Everything
so
needs
we're
to
good.
continue as normal.
Yeah,
This is
don't
a
worry.
functioning tattoo
I'll have
shop.
AI edit this.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so anyway, moved to Korea. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna move to Korea because it's a great deal. They fly you out. They fucking pay for your accommodations. It's the cost of living is lower.
They
I have a
pay
teaching
you
degree.
also?
And they pay you and you get a severance and health insurance.
Because they really want, I guess they really want Americans out there doing that thing, so they're trying to incentivize people.
Yep, and not just Americans, just anybody that's a native English speaker. It's basically like the idea of like full immersion, right? So
Right.
I go out there.
With what goal? What was your intention? Like, what was your plan?
I wanted to travel.
Just like see the world.
I wanted to, at that point in my life, I actually used to think I was going to be in a Peace Corps. Because I was just like, I just want to travel. Like the thought of staying in one place and staying in like our town, like just couldn't do it. So I was like, cool, I'm going to I have this teaching degree. I'm going to use it as a means for travel. That was the plan. And then so I ended up doing that. And I go out there and it's really fucking hard.
Yeah, you had a rough time initially, right? Transitions, like
it takes
how different it is, cultural.
I was very lonely because like I'm a chatter. Like I'm chatting in line at Target.
Yeah, I love chatting.
I'm not talking to the
cashier. From the Jersey Shore. We chat.
We're chatters.
We're chatting right now, and we're making content out of it.
Exactly.
We're doing what we love.
We are.
Chatting.
That's right. So like I'm in Korea, and you can't.
You can't chat because
I
you
can't
don't know
even
how to
look
chat
to the
with them.
person next to me on the bus and say something.
You should just start speaking to them in English, and they'll just be looking at you like.
Sometimes, like that was fine. Like
I'm just gonna talk to you. You don't have to understand what I'm saying. It's okay.
Yeah. So you get lonely, you get homesick.
You committed to a year. That's like a big. Like I lived in London for 3 months, and that felt like a lot and very far away and distant.
Yeah, and I had never done this. Like I was just jumped right in.
Commitment.
Yep. So my first year of teaching was in Korea, and it was at a private kindergarten, like I said, very challenging. I had there's a cultural difference on how they run business there versus here, and so to be honest, they don't give a fuck about your feelings. They don't even care if you're sick. You're going to work.
Come to work.
There are no days off.
Yeah,
you are not allowed. Like there are public
That's
holidays.
great. I thought America was the most like that, no days off.
No, Korea.
Korea, they got.
No, because they're competing with us, and they're winning. They're gonna if you put a Korean and an American
in a work off. Well,
in a
I
work
guess
off,
Americans have become very lazy.
We're
as
the
well.
worst. Yeah. So we also have a terrible reputation out there for coming out, it being too hard, and leaving in the middle of the night.
True.
Which I used to think about doing
for
about 6 months.
It's like Sadie escapes Korea.
Yeah, like I've thought about leaving in the middle of the night for 6 months. But
then you wouldn't get your. Then you wouldn't get. Real quick to interrupt,
Yeah.
but also I just want to know this.
Keep it.
What
keep
made
it.
you know? Like, I guess whether to give up and be like, this isn't for me, or I got to see this through and stick it out. Like, how did you make that decision of whether to pivot or just keep going?
Every single day I would go, is it a red light or a green light? And every day I would be like, am I green? Green means go. Green means I'm staying, actually. Green means
so you're just checking in with yourself?
Yep. And then some days I'd be like, I fucking hate this place. I'm going to leave.
Get the fuck out of here.
So it was really, every day was different. Eventually, after I settled in and I got some really great support from new coworkers that came in that were teachers, that's their favorite thing to do.
Right.
It got a little easier because they just understand the struggle of a teacher, and we really bonded together.
Right.
So I ended up with this really strong friend group.
Nice.
They were Australian. And then
I love Australians. I always make friends.
We love them. We love them. And one guy from the UK. I don't do shoeies.
Shoeies when you drink beer out of a shoe. Look it up, everybody.
Yeah, you'll find Ben.
You'll find
a video of Ben and Gallus.
True. It's Australian thing, but we kind of adopted it. It's been a while since I did a shoey, but
yeah.
But so all right. So what happened with the new friend group?
So new friends. I'm feeling better. We have a routine. I'm getting used to things. They moved me to a brand new smart apartment, which was kind of cool.
A smartment.
A smartment. So I was in a new little spot. So it felt new. So the second 6 months were vastly different from the first 6 months. Now I'm more comfortable. I'm traveling around Korea a little bit more. I'm it just got a little bit easier. And so those last 6 months, you get closer and closer. I would visualize myself leaving on the plane and feeling fulfilled.
Just I did
every
this
day.
thing.
And this is when I started to get into self-help. I was lonely, and I was started listening to fucking Tony Robbins.
I love Tony Robbins.
I don't love Tony Robbins.
Well, I do, but
at the time,
it got you into something.
He just had so much stuff for free on YouTube, so it was just I would start my day listening to Tony Robbins, saying some affirmations, and picturing myself leaving. And being on that
So it was
plane
all about-
on the day I left, so proud.
So it was all about just making it to the end at this point?
At this
it was
point.
just like, I just need to get to the finish line?
Enjoy as much as possible.
Right. But
Enjoy it as much as possible. So that last 6 months was like, I was like, cool, I got 6 months. How am I going to make this bet great? Where in the beginning, it was like, oh my God, I have a year.
You're like, oh, yeah. You're like, now I can actually enjoy this a little bit.
Yeah, and so you get you get comfy, and it got a little easier, and then, I eventually got out of there, got my severance, and then I came back, and I was like, wow, I really still want to travel, and that's when I decided to move to Australia.
Oh, true. Yeah, you did that thing.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? All right. What was your biggest lesson from your whole Korean experience? Like, what was your takeaway? Like, you stuck it out. You did a whole year. You didn't want to be there, but you showed yourself
Yeah.
you could. Like, what did you learn from that?
I'm so much stronger than I
Learned
thought.
about your strength.
I just when I left and I came back, I like laughed to myself. I'm like, I could do fucking any job.
Yeah, you're like,
I can do any
do
job.
anything.
Like, there was just no question. Like, it's just like, after you do something that you didn't even think you could do, doesn't matter
Then
what
you,
it is.
You just show yourself what you're capable of. As
Yeah.
humans, we're mostly capable of really a lot more than we think. So it's nice to get that confirmation and validation.
Yeah. Yeah, so I did it, and I cried. Oh my God, I got on that plane. I got to do the thing that I visualized.
You're like,
and I sat on that
cried
plane,
my way home.
and I sobbed.
The whole way. And then the person next to you is like, excuse me,
Yeah.
man, can you shut the hell up?
Yeah,
I'm
and
trying
then
to
and then
sleep
there
here."
was like really bad turbulence, and me and the
You're like,
guy were both like sitting there, and I was like, if I fucking die, I made it.
You're like, I made it. I could die like this because at least I accomplished my
No,
goal.
I was pissed. I was like, I didn't even actually make it. I need to
Yeah,
set foot.
You would have died not having accomplished your goal.
No, I was so pissed. So anyway, didn't crash, didn't die. Everything's fine.
I'm glad you didn't die.
So am I.
Sick.
So yeah.
It's Australia.
And then I came back. I like chilled out. I lived on my like little severance. Didn't work. I just made art and then figured out how to move to Australia.
Why Australia? Because you wanted to do more shoeies?
Yes, it was exactly that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. No, so the people that I got really close with, the Australians that I worked with, they were gonna, they're from there. And I also had another friend from Tennessee who was nannying there at the time.
Right.
And
so you had a little community going on.
Well, I was like, I could have a community at some point, but I'm actually more interested in my friend nannying and like, how is that?
Right.
Is that a job that I can do?
Yeah.
I just had a
'Cause I
classroom.
can do anything now.
I can do anything. And I was thinking, like, I had a classroom of 4-year-olds. 8 4-year-olds all day long. I'm like, I can totally fucking nanny 2 of these guys.
Because you were more like,
Yes.
ooh.
It's beautiful. Those lines are going to be so sick. Let's go.
Party time.
Yeah, so I was like, let's just see. I just knew I wanted to travel. I was looking for somewhere that would also have accommodation. So like when you're looking for like jobs abroad, that's part of it, right? You gotta
find
live
one of those deals
somewhere.
where they incentivize you by giving you the whole thing. You don't have to figure out, live in, all that stuff.
Yeah. So I started doing research on visas and like the same drill as I did for Korea. And then I started interviewing with families from online and found a family that often had au pairs. So they would keep an au pair for 6 months. She'd be from somewhere in the world.
Right.
They loved that their kids got exposed to it.
Cultural experience.
Yeah, and then they'd stay for 6 months in the home. And yeah, it's 4 days a week, 10 hours. And I had one day off on the Friday, and I decided while I was down there, I would fill that. I'm just crazy. I filled that Friday with substitute teaching.
So at this point, like, were you back to thinking maybe I will teach for my life? Or you're just like, this is just a thing I'm doing here, still not really clear on the big picture? Is that sort of it?
I was still like, I'm just going to travel. I was thinking...
I'll be in the present moment, just now.
Well,
which is good, but with a balance of zooming out, big picture
because
stuff.
again, it was like, I just want to travel. I even there was a period of time when I was in Korea researching my next move where I spent like a week researching living on a cruise. Like, what is it like to work on a cruise? Horrible, don't do it.
I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that
It's
because
truly
too much
horrible.
boat time.
So much boat time.
Too much boat time. I like being on a boat.
A lot of no
temporarily.
window time and a lot of drinking.
lot
so
of
like the
darkness,
way that the
dark
people,
partying.
the way that the people on the boat like cope is partying. And so anyway, I looked at that. I've looked at all sorts of jobs. I really wanted to move into Spain and teach English there because it's easier. Not as much pay, but easier.
Right.
So that's it. You know, you're thinking about your loans, how am I going to pay them, and where am I going to live, and what skills do I have that's going to make this travel dream a reality. It was more about the travel, less about what I was doing while I was traveling.
Right, you just wanted to, you figured when I'm out there, you'll find the path.
That's right.
Which is honestly true to an extent. Just getting out there, changing your environment, having these totally new experiences, I think that opens up your mind to new ideas.
Yeah. So the au pairing, not great pay. They're basically like, you live with you live with us, we feed you, so we're gonna give you like $300 a week.
Right.
$300 a week in Australia is like $100 a week here.
True. So like,
cost of living is a lot higher.
Like here, go get a beer or two.
It was horrible. Yeah, there was no. So that's why I picked up substituting because there substituting one day is $300.
Oh, nice.
Which is not like that here. So I did that, and that was it. I was like, I'm never teaching again.
That was the final. That was the final. What age group was that?
So I told them I'm only doing secondary school. Secondary is middle school and high school. One day they put me in a primary school in a second grade classroom, and I left crying.
Why?
They broke me.
Those
little children broke me. Hi. Talking about.
We're back, and you never want to teach again because the kids broke you.
Oh, yeah, the little kids broke me.
I thought it would be the bigger kids that broke you.
So the thing when you're in a classroom in a high school or secondary school is you're only in there for the one class, and then they leave.
Right.
And then you get new ones to ruin.
Right.
So when you're in an elementary school classroom, you're with them all day. You're their mother.
They can learn who you are and how to break you down.
They did.
Was it paper airplanes at your face? Was it spitballs?
It was just absolute, like, they're crying, they need things. I'm just
Those
like,
fucking kids
they're not my kids.
They're not mine.
You know, like when I'm in, when I was in Korea and I was in a young classroom, they were my kids. I knew what to do with them. Like, you know, I know what they need. But when I was like in this other classroom in Australia, they were just like, "Gah, let's break her." Also, being from America, the minute I open my mouth, they lose their minds.
Like laughing?
Laughing. Everything I say is wrong. Do you own a gun?
Oh, shit.
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
True.
They're fascinated by that stuff.
Yes.
The best one was, how many items are on your Starbucks menu?
Well, how many items are on their Starbucks
They don't really
menu?
fuck with Starbucks.
Ah.
They have like local coffee.
I can't answer that question.
I couldn't.
I'm gonna say 20.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. It's interesting that you're thinking about this.
Thinking about the items in our Starbucks.
Yeah, it's funny. So like, yeah. So and then their names. So like, say Connor. We say Connor. They say Kona.
Kona.
So when I say, as soon as I start roll, I'm like Connor, and they're like,
you dummy, you
fucking
American
idiot! Say it again, say it again. Every
jackass.
So like every single name was wrong.
Right.
So you start the day wrong.
Yeah, and then from there it just continues downhill.
Yeah. So I did that, and I was able to save it. So then there was 1 month left where I was not nannying anymore. I was like at the end of my contract. So I moved in with my friend, and then I moved in with my friend, and then we are recording a podcast right now. It's okay. I just wanted to let you know. This is Monica.
You're all good.
All the tattooers are here. And no one's here on Sundays ever. And today everyone's here. Yeah.
I was like, oh, let me see.
Yes, I did the machine. That's right. Yeah. So this was all coil down here. It's okay. And then we did some machine. Now we're hand poking and recording while I'm hand poking. Yes, thank you, Monica. We love you.
Thanks, Monica.
That's Monica. That's Rice Milk, everyone. Rice Milk Mo. Yeah, so then I did that. And so I substitute for 1 month straight so that I can backpack. Remember when I backpacked by myself? Well, with my friend. So I backpacked up this coast, saw all that stuff, came back, had the head injury. Remember the nerve?
I was the first one to discover that. We were FaceTiming.
I was supposed to visit you in London.
Yeah, and then you just started getting all weird, and you're like, I
couldn't
think
see.
I'm dying. You went blind on me.
I couldn't
and I was like,
see.
Sadie.
I was throwing up.
There's nothing I could do. I was just across continents.
So then they misdiagnosed me and made me stay there for like weeks.
Oh, so you got trapped in Australia?
I got trapped in Australia. I finally come back, and that's when I got run over.
Oh, wow, so many things. All right.
So many things.
But you got run over, which is just so funny that we don't even mention. All right, you'll say what actually happened, but most people would be like, "Fuck this, fuck my life, this sucks." But this turned into one of the most positive experiences of your life.
Yeah,
because of
it
perspective.
did.
All right, tell us how that shifted and took you to what you want to be doing in life.
Right.
All right, talk about the running overness.
Okay, so I get run over in the Mummers Day Parade. Mummers Day Parade is the oldest parade in America. It's a folk parade, and it only happens on New Year's Day in Philadelphia. It's like a weird thing. Everyone gets to drink. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Everyone gets to drink.
And I don't know how y'all do it, because when I do New Year's Eve, I want to rest on New Year's Day. So I've never participated in your Mummers Day. I always leave.
True.
I always like, I'm done.
It's because the people that love Mummers taper back the night before.
True, they know that they're saving. You're saving it.
We're saving.
I use it. I use up the powers.
Yes. So that was a big part of it. So anyway, I haven't been to Mummers in years, so I'm really excited.
I'm really excited. Really party time.
Got really close. I just got too close to them. And I'm in the parade basically. Now I've joined them. It's nighttime, not the daytime part. And yeah, like the car clipped me. I fall down. A mummer tries to pull me out, and it ran over my foot twice.
Oh my! Double run.
Double run, yeah. It was like it was happening, and then I was like, "Oh, it's happening again."
Is that? I
was like,
"Oh, this is the second time I'm getting run over in a matter of seconds."
Yeah, this is
ow,
insane.
and then ow, ow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought you were responding to my hand poke.
No,
I was like, "Ow, ow, ow, ow."
This feels fine actually.
Okay,
The hand poke's
cool.
way better than
everyone.
tattoo pain.
That's right.
But no, I'm mimicking you with the ow, double ow, ow, ow.
Oh my God! Look what I just did.
Sadie just ruined my tattoo, everybody. Never podcast to get a tattooed again. What did you do?
Fine.
It's fine.
Everything's fine.
You gotta love when a tattoo artist is working on you starts getting worried. That's
No, I just used my ring because I wasn't paying attention. The ring has black ink. I'm in red.
Oh, true. Black
So
and
I
red.
just did the wrong thing. That's fine. Anyway, yeah. So I get run over. This is good. Here's why it's good.
This is good that you got run over.
This is why it's because at the time I was like, maybe I'll move to Philly and I'll get a job as a server since I don't want to be a teacher, and I will, I'll just live in an apartment and I'll figure it out.
Right.
But it wasn't really like a clear path. So when I get run over, I'm like, I gotta stop moving. I gotta move in with my mother.
It made you stop.
Yeah.
You were like bouncing. I think you were kind of like, you were started as an adventure, but then maybe you were just using it as an excuse to not figure things out.
Yeah.
So the run over made you just stop. It's like, hey, sit down and fucking figure your life out.
Yeah.
The universe works in such silly ways.
And I had the
sometimes.
best rehab, like Renee, my mother.
Yeah, moms take care of you. But
I've been gone
when my shoulder exploded, my mom really took care of me, you know?
Yeah, and it's like I've been gone for 2 years. You know, I've been traveling. My mom's so happy to have me there.
Even if your leg is in a cast and
Yeah.
obliterated.
And I never broke a bone, so all of it was fascinating to me. Like I
Yeah.
learned a lot.
True.
Because I've never done sports
About,
or
like,
anything.
anatomy.
There's no reason for me to be hurt.
Yeah, just getting run over by vehicles in a parade.
Yeah. Okay, so all that happens, and then it made me stop. Now, I don't want to, I started applying for jobs in Philly, and I think I applied for like 50 jobs. All
what kind of jobs?
Entry level into an office with the potential for me to end up in a creative department.
So you are now exploring like the business world. This is where you switch gears to business rather than just like server work and things like that.
Yeah, so it was like 9 to 5.
What
That's all.
sparked the 9 to 5 thing for you? Because you've always had a good business sense, and I'm like,
Yeah, but I don't know if I did.
maybe
I
that
think
always
it
started
was-
when you got into the offices.
It was. So like I got into
understood it at least.
I started liking finance and stuff, so I started to educate myself on finance after Korea because I kind of realized I might not ever have a 9 to 5.
True.
And so I want to figure out how to have a 401k. I want to know what to do with my money. I want to know how to buy health insurance, all that shit.
Right.
So I seem like I know a little at this point. So I'm like, okay, I'm studying transitional skills when you're changing careers and how to build a resume for like teachers to do anything besides teach.
Right.
And I'm not getting it. I applied to 50 jobs.
Just nothing.
Nothing.
Not hearing back at all.
I'm changing my cover letters. I'm changing the
You're like,
resume.
what the fuck am I doing wrong? Did you start getting defeated at that point?
Absolutely.
Were you feeling like kind of stuck?
Absolutely.
Just like,
It was
nothing's
horrible.
working. Yeah,
Well, it
'cause
was also-
blows your confidence too.
But I'm also like, it'll be okay because I can always be a server, right?
Right.
I can always just like, once my foot's good, I'll move back. I can be a server, and I'll be fine. So I'm not getting, but then I decided, well, with the broken foot, what about virtual jobs?
Right. Oh, okay. I see where this is going.
And so then I found a website. Actually, it was on Pinterest. I was on Pinterest looking for virtual work. And there was a blog, and on the blog at the end, there was this site that matches entrepreneurs with virtual assistants. So you apply to get into their program, and then they will match you.
Right, so you're getting startup experience at that point, learning how business works.
Yeah, so I ended up applying for this job, lying about all my skills.
You got to do it sometimes.
Yeah, and because I was like, I'm home, I can just teach myself.
You're like, I'm good. Yeah.
And then I get hired by that. They match me with this woman, Corinne Crabtree. She is starting a weight loss business. It's already started. She lost 100 pounds at this point and had kept it off. She's in her 40s.
She had a big community, right?
Yes. At the time, it was much smaller, though. She was just starting to expand her business. That's why she hired me. And like I said, I had lied about all my skills. So every day, I was just teaching myself whatever she needed.
Like, I got to figure this out.
Whatever she needed. I was like, I'm just going to Google it. I'm just going to figure it out.
Google it. Now you can chat GPT it. But back then, they didn't even have those luxuries.
That's the truth. And so I was doing all of that, and she loved it. And it only took a couple months before she was like, I know you're just doing this. Like, I know you're just figuring shit out, and I
but
love
you're nailing it.
She loved it. Like, this is like her whole thing. It's like, you can do anything. You just have to figure it out.
Right.
You know? And so she ended up taking me on full time. I ended up being with her for 4 years. I helped her grow her company. I was in the marketing position. I was in marketing director. I was in.
That's so much business experience. Before this, you've like done serving, you've
Yeah,
done teaching, and then you get thrown into a startup that actually is. How was that transition for you? Like, did you love it? Were you feel like you're learning a lot? And that's when you really started nailing the business thing.
I loved it.
Such good skills to have for anything you do with your life.
Especially so in the very, very beginning when it's small and like that growth is real. It's very like. I was like her right hand. So everything she was learning and growing, I was learning and growing.
That's awesome. That's the power of a mentor. It's like
the mentor
I'm
part.
Frank's right hand. He's teaching me so fucking much too. Like that shit is a game changer.
It's a game changer.
Do you feel like that? Like having a mentor was like changing the trajectory of your whole life?
My whole life. Crucial. Amazing. Absolutely crucial. I think about her probably every day.
Right, and you think like, what would they do in this situation? Like I found myself in that mentality.
So on top of her being a business person, she's also a life coach.
Right, so you get business experience plus actual coaching, which I think is such a great entrance into this world because you're learning how to deal with the mental challenges and actual logistics of operating a business.
Yeah. So, we're doing. So I'm like learning how to life coach myself. I'm learning how to do all these other like practical skills. I'm the only creative on the team. It's a small team.
You're becoming the MVP quickly.
I'm MVP. I am absolutely.
You're fucking rocking this thing.
I'm the youngest. I'm the only one that was hired not from the membership. So I'm like the only one that like got hired without like the thought of like I didn't lose weight with her. So like
it was strictly the business.
It was
you
qualifications.
Look at it from the outside.
Yeah.
Like you weren't like so deep in the product that you like blinded kind of.
Yeah, and so when she started, like my first launch, I think we onboarded like 900 people, and we were stoked.
Damn.
No, the first one was 450. The next one was like 9, and then we did like 2,000 on like the third one.
So people, and this is all from like marketing campaigns and just like and.
Yeah, a lot of like now I know like they did do a lot of investment into Facebook marketing.
Right.
And so like their reliance on organic marketing was not very high at the time.
And back then, the Facebook ads, I feel like, got you further along than they do in this day and age when everyone's running it and the competition's so saturated.
Right. And that was part of that was part of it. It's like you got to time the ads. So I learned a lot about like Facebook ads. I used to have to make them on Canva. I did everything on Canva.
This is such good to know. Like again, this goes to anything you do in your life. If you know how to run ads and like do Canva design, all that stuff, then you're set.
It was so every day I learned something new. It was amazing. And then I'm getting life coaching. And whenever they hired a life coach, so I was their first hire. Maybe we had like 3 or 4 people on the team. When I left, there was like 12. There's like 6 coaches.
Scaled up.
Yeah, they scaled so much. The membership is at like 15,000 people now.
Sick.
Yeah. It might be a little less, but it was around there when I left. So yeah, so I had like I really enjoyed
So
it.
it's like all
I was
positive? Did you
I was
have-
helping people.
You're actually like, making a difference.
I was
You're
making a
feeling
difference.
the impact.
I got to learn how to be a producer. I produced live events that were hybrid, so they were both virtual and in person, and I had to do both run of shows.
That's such a good skill. We need that.
And then
Help
I
me.
would, and I was like the boss. So like there was like we would hire a production team, and I would be in charge of like 30 men. It was awesome.
And you're like, hey, you
I'm
all
like a
those
little
motherfuckers.
Pomeranian,
You're like,
you know?
"Ha, bark, bark,
Yeah.
bark."
But anyway, so either way, like my personality was like, I don't want to look at screens for the rest of my life. That was the big thing.
That
I
was
was
a
like,
big-
I
yeah,
just
sure,
don't
being
want to
on the
look at
screen-
screens.
Just doing all screen stuff all day.
Do you want this part read?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that was the big trip. Now, enter Mark. I'm dating this guy who's a tattoo artist.
Who was on the last episode?
was on the last
if you're listening
episode.
to this, you know him.
And so when people ask me, oh, why did you become a tattoo artist? This is what I always say. I got sick of waking up next to somebody that was so excited to go to work every day.
You're like, I need that shit too.
I was like, whoa, this is amazing. Like,
But
this,
we're like, what, so, but you were excited about what you were doing with the coach. It was really more just about the screen time, or
it's
like what?
screen time. It's the like 9 to 5-ness. It's the, I didn't feel creatively challenged. I was like, I'm more than Canva. I want to be making art. In my
Right.
head, I was always absorbing so that I could be an entrepreneur. Because
okay, so
one
you
day I'm going to be an artist. That was always kind
So
of.
was that in your head when you were doing the traveling, or did I
Nope.
just start with the online business? That's when you were starting to get clear on your purpose. in
That
this
life
world.
coaching started to sink in.
Fuck yeah, that's
I started to build confidence. I
This-
started to age too. Like,
Sometimes you need other people's perspective also, like to help you formulate and like just get some people with experience who could help you shape what your future looks like. And I think the
Yeah.
coaching did that a lot for you.
Oh, yeah. So I'm watching this person who's telling me and everyone that she works with that you can do anything.
You can do anything you want.
Exactly. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm an artist. I want to figure out how to have an art career.
There you go.
Tattooing it seems very rewarding now. And I'm also, I'm exposed to this world with him. I go to all the conventions with him.
Right,
and,
so
like,
you're
I'm
understanding
hanging
the
out in
industry.
shop,
Right, so
I'm
you know what's
really,
going on
really
here.
wanting to do this thing so that I can have freedom in my life, the same freedom that he has.
Right.
And then I just fell in love with it. As soon as I started, I ordered a hand poke kit. I started hand poking.
Which is what we're doing right now.
Which
for
is what we're
everyone who's
doing.
listening in.
Hand poking is tattooing without a machine. I do not do tabori style, which is like the old kind that you see where they've got like a big wooden stick and they're hitting
Does
it.
that hurt more? Because I heard
don't-
this stuff hurts, but this feels like literally nothing.
Yeah.
So I don't.
It's a what's it called?
Maybe you have a nice
a
gentle
preference.
touch.
I do have a nice gentle touch. So I do this hand poking stuff. The reason I chose hand poking because it's a more approachable, smaller learning curve.
Right, just get started with one, like a little niche skill set, and then you can expand from there.
And so I've been like, and I also thought at my age, so I started tattooing at 27. That's old for a tattooer.
When do people usually start? 18, 19?
It depends, yeah. Like, Marcella was 19, 18. She's 23, and she's almost two years in.
Right.
So I was feeling old. Actually, when I told my dad that I wanted to be a tattoo artist, he said I was too old.
He's like, you missed the
He
boat there.
he's like, you cannot do this. He also doesn't believe women should have tattoos. So,
Okay, so some traditional thoughts.
I have
there.
a very traditional father. Didn't talk to me for a week when I finally made the switch.
Hey, well, he got through it.
He got through it.
They always do.
But
Have to.
so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this thing. Now I'm doing it at home. I'm taking clients from 9 to 12, and then I would take meetings at 12.
So this is where you got the hybrid lifestyle, where you're
Hybrid
starting to,
life.
you're incorporating the new thing. This is what I tell everyone also is like, if you got something you want to go for, it's kind of risky and new, just do it as a side hustle to start. So you're still making money and you're not totally leaping in.
Yeah.
It makes it less stressful and anxious because it's not like all your eggs are in that basket. So I like that side hustle mentality.
Yeah. So this was so I'm doing this. We're side hustling. I'm learning. I'm progressing, but not as fast as someone that's working in a shop.
Right.
And so I picked hand poking because I was like, cool, I'll learn.
How are you learning? Was it YouTube?
I did a little YouTube and then mostly just doing. I did a little on my leg and then I started taking volunteers. I did free tattoos for probably about 6 months, and then I did $50 tattoos for a year. And it was because I was very start and stop. Now, if my job got real busy, I'm in a launch, I'm not tattooing.
Right. You're taking a step back.
And this is a muscle memory game.
And that's hard to advance when you have to keep starting and stopping like that, right?
Exactly. Then I decided I wanted to buy a house, and that was going to be my goal. And so instead of pursuing tattooing, I made sure that I stayed at my job where I had a salary, and that I could position myself to buy a house, because Mark was a tattooer, and that doesn't look as great for the mortgage companies. And so I stayed at the job for a year longer than I anticipated.
Right. And at this point, were you getting antsy? Were you kind of like, I'm done with this chapter, or I'm ready to move forward?
Yeah, it's not my passion anymore. While I like enjoy it, it's just not my thing. And I'm ready to move on. And I want to start learning to tattoo. So I was like, I'll just hand poke. I'll get good at hand poking so I can get into a shop. And then once I'm in a shop, they'll teach me I can learn how to use a machine, and then I'll do all these things. That was always the plan. Now, that is exactly what happened.
Right.
That is exactly what happened. I eventually quit my job.
When did you know the moment was there? When was it like?
It's only because I'm a bad liar. So my friend boss, I call her my friend boss. She's now one of my really good friends and business coaches.
Corinne?
Not Corinne, Sarah. And so she was like, asked me, where do you see yourself? Because my performance was declining at this point.
Because you just weren't
mentally
checked in there anymore?
I'm like, I'm done. I want a tattoo. I bought the house.
Right, so you already got the goal. You're like, all right, I need to.
Yeah.
You knew it was time.
Yeah. And so she asked me, where do you see yourself? And I was like, well, I'm actually thinking about leaving in the next 6 months. Thinking about October might be a good time after I move into my new house, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, okay, I have to report. Like, I have to tell Corinne, because, like, this is going to impact the whole business. So I'm like, okay. Remember, I'm an MVP. Right?
Right.
They don't want me to quit.
Right.
So she comes back.
Start this process.
So we talk about it, and they're like, you know what? If she's got thoughts of leaving, we got to get her out, because of the mentality part. Right. And so, like, as soon as I said that, literally, she came back and said, we would like you to leave by August.
Why?
So it was months ahead of time what I thought.
Why is this again?
Because it's a life coaching business. So mentality is a really important part, and they don't want someone that isn't mentally in it and is already thinking about their next move.
Right. Which
is totally valid.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And at this point, like I said, my performance was declining. They're scaling their business. They're not interested in they've known this about me since I started. I'm very open about tattooing. I'm very open about my art career.
This is where it's going.
Yeah, so she supports me. She's watched me grown. She wants me to accomplish my dreams. And so she's like, okay, well, for my business to be good, we need to replace you, and we need you out. We would like you to leave in August. And it was July.
So how are you feeling about all that?
Fine.
Were you ready? You're like, okay,
I wasn't ready.
It
was just like, okay, whatever. Yeah. Gotta do it. Gotta do it. Gotta make moves.
Jumping in the deep end.
Yeah.
Just like when I got laid off my job, I was like, all right, well, now I'm an entrepreneur. I have to be.
Yep. And so I just we moved into the house. The house is getting gutted. I'm tattooing in the house with no ceilings, walls, or working electric.
How was that sanitation situation?
It was sanitation situation.
It was a situation.
It was sanitized. As long as nothing falls from the ceiling on you, you should be pretty good.
A little dust crumble in your ink.
A little dust crumble here and there.
Never hurt anybody?
No, so I did that. I was only doing it for a few months when I saw that this shop, Now and Forever,
where we are
currently right now, was taking guest artists. And I saw that they took hand pokers. And I was like, I'm going to apply. And I go in, and I have a great time. I vibe with everyone. Do it again. And I do it again. And then eventually, Crystal, the owner, was like, do you want to do this?
Like, are you ready for the leap?
And I said no.
What the fuck?
I wasn't sure.
What did you think was...
I wasn't sure I could afford the rent. I didn't have a client base.
So what, you have an obligation monthly for rent?
Yes.
That's what
I rent this.
Right.
And so I was like, I don't think I make enough money to work there, actually. I think I have to build my client base a little more. So I'm still guesting. She's like, cool, guest once a month. So I reach out to the health department. They're like, you know what? Why are you doing this? They were like, this is a red flag.
What?
Where are you tattooing out of? Who are you? Why are you going to this shop and guesting? Because every time you guest, you have to tell the health department and get a special license.
Really?
Yep. In Philadelphia, everything changes by the county. So the health department reaches out to Crystal and is like, hey, red flag, who is this girl? Is she tattooing out of her house?
Oh shit.
And Crystal called me and I'm like hysterical. I'm like, this is my livelihood. Like I am tattooing. What am I gonna do? She's like, listen, I'll meet you where you're at. I got another artist who's also tattooing out of their house. We need to get you both out of the house and into this shop.
Because you're about to get in some trouble.
And she met me where I'm at and we split the rent.
Wow.
And we did, for almost a year, we split the station next door. Until we both had solid clients.
That's
and we were
so
able
clutch.
to separate. A spot opened over here, and I moved over here. And I've been here full time since it's my first month.
This is your first month?
Yeah.
We're
April
so-
1st.
Wow.
April 1st.
It's a joke. You don't really work here.
I just started working
April
here.
Fools.
Well, I've been working here a year.
No, but that's awesome.
But not in this
That's
building,
so
next door.
timely. Like, and just the fact that sometimes all it takes is one opportunity and someone like just giving you a chance. The fact that she met you where you're at, split the rent.
Yep.
I feel like that just opened up your world, and now
It opened my whole world.
I love that we're on the podcast now when you're so freshly, like full time here. Oh,
And
okay.
so my machine, like I've been like practicing machine on and off
Which
because
you
every
just
time.
practiced on me before we started this
That's
episode.
right. So he's got some blowouts. I'm looking right ahead.
Oh God.
Sorry.
Thanks, Sadie.
Sorry, everyone. Well, but this is life changing. When you volunteer your skin to someone when they're learning, you are changing their life. Just so you know.
Aw, I'm happy to. I know you're gonna only advance from here.
Yeah, we'll fix it later. Yeah. So after moving over here, my station's right next to Crystal, and I'm surrounded by all these like amazing artists. I'm starting to and I'm here more. I'm absorbing more, and I'm able to start machining at a faster rate because, like I
She's
said,
mentoring you, like,
muscle
showing you-
memory.
Muscle
Muscle memory.
That's what we're calling this episode. It's called
Mumble-messery.
Mumble messery.
Mumble messery.
So everyone, you know, you got to really master your mumble messery.
You do. You gotta mumble.
You got to mumble and mess it up a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah. And so now I'm here, and I have scaled my clientele. Like after I realized, I'm going full time, I like really doubled down on a lot of things, and started leaning on my own marketing because what I was doing also to supplement income, I was working at a restaurant.
Right.
I was working there a couple times a week doing back serving, so just a few hours. But I was also helping with marketing there. So it was kind of
Right, a little bit of all those skills you learned along the way and just doing what you can to...
A lot of mentoring with him, like not that we're the exact same age, but I was able to share a lot of information with him that I had learned from my last job, and the life coaching helps. Yeah, so that was kind of, I did that. That took a lot of time and energy, and then I realized I need to start taking the time, that time that I'm spending with this other business, I have to start doing it on myself.
Marketing.
And then I started to double down on my own marketing, and it's been great. I'm building momentum. The shop has a lot of momentum, and yeah, I've been booking my ass off. And
That's incredible.
if I'm not booking, I also meet with my friend Sarah, who I used to work with, who has life coaching experience, and we meet every Wednesday, online, virtual, and we hold each other accountable to our goals. We set goals together, and we talk about them, and we set goals for the week.
And you make sure you're not doing it. You're just like, how's that going? Accountability.
And it's like, say you did not do it. Why were we stuck? And we coach each other. So I meet her on Wednesday, and then we coach each other out of it. What do we do now? What's the next step? How can we make all the steps smaller so they're easier to approach? She and I both have ADHD, and so it's a big part of like how we do everything. You're like always, you're meeting yourself where you're at, and like constantly. Because it's very easy to get distracted. It's very easy to we don't have all the same dopamine chemicals, so like getting started on things are hard.
Right.
And transitions are slow. So like during, say I'm doing one task, I need to move to the next task. I will pause.
You gotta recalibrate.
It takes so long.
Yeah.
And so these are things that I will talk about because she experiences them as well. So we figure it out together. And then we've been doing it every week for 4 months, 5 months.
And it's helping you get
I had my first 10 grand month.
Fuck yeah.
In February.
I'm so happy and proud of you for making this all happen. You're fucking awesome. You deserve this goodness. So
yeah, so it works. So accountability is one of my main things. You gotta have somebody that's checking on you, man.
True.
It's when you're doing intrinsic motivation and you're just completely relying on that, it's so draining.
Yeah, I mean, some people have more discipline naturally than
and that's true.
But having someone else, it really does help.
It really does help. And like the muscle that I've been working on for the last like 5-6 months that has paid off over and over and over again is just doing what I say I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's true. So many people don't do that.
I didn't do it my whole life.
Like,
I feel like.
Thing, and you're like,
I feel like my whole life I would say I was going to do things, and then I would do them on the grand scale. So like I will say every goal I've ever really sought after, I have gotten.
Right.
I will do it. It takes a lot longer than I anticipate every time. But when after this last one, like after I got here and I got my 10 grand, my 10K month, and I did that on my own, I cried. And I was just like, wow, like I didn't need anybody else. I did that myself.
And independence and showed yourself.
And I did it because I kept doing what I say I'm going to do. And I look back and I say, I wanted to go to Korea and stay a year. I did that. I wanted to go to Australia. I did that. Oh, I wanted a corporate job. I did that and then some.
Right.
I ended up advancing and learning all of these things. And then I wanted to be a tattoo artist. I wanted to get in a shop and I wanted to do all that. And I'm like, okay. So I have enough evidence now.
That you know you can do whatever you just decide you want to do.
As long as I decide to do it.
Right.
I know I'm going to do it. It's going to not be the way you think it's going to be, but you're going to get there.
Stay focused on the end game, and no matter how you get there, you go off course a couple times.
Yeah, just keep picking your head back up and being like, do I want to be the person that like does what they say they're going to do? And it comes down to even like making plans with your friends.
Right, and not bailing.
And
just
not
don't
bailing.
bail. Like, if you don't want to hang out, just like don't make the plan.
And get better at planning.
Right.
So that you don't set yourself up so that you're in a position that you're going to cancel.
Exactly.
Be really realistic about the things that you want to do and how you want to spend your time.
Exactly. I want to be reliable to the people in my life. I want them to think, Ben.
Yeah, Ben will show up and do the thing. And that comes from being really honest with yourself and how you're spending your time. And then committing to just doing what you say you're going to do and doing the laundry. It's little things. That muscle gets worked constantly.
Yeah, just like
it's a great thing.
Waking up before 7 or something like that. You just got to just start doing.
Going to see your grandma twice a week, whatever it is. If it's important and you make it important, and then you keep showing up to do that thing, that muscle gets stronger and stronger and stronger. It gets easier and easier, and you develop more evidence that you can do what you say you're going to do, and less evidence that you're going to fail.
Yeah, and you're more confident in yourself. You're stronger. You're leveling up. All that awesome stuff.
Yeah, and so like that's really how it happened here. This is
amazing.
Exactly. I said I was going to do it. I just kept pushing and returning back to that muscle and continuing to work that muscle.
Incredible. So you're here now. I mean, you've gone through a long journey. You've been all over the world. You've been finding yourself, figuring it out. Where do we see Sadie in like 10 years? Where do you go from here? Like, or do you feel like you finally figured out kind of like your path and see it more clearly now? Where are we going?
Great question. The way that I see it is like, I came into tattooing kind of late because I'm an artist with a lot of mediums, right? Mm-hmm. So I like really want to be in a world where I'm making tattoos and I'm making clothing and I'm making paintings and I'm doing art shows. And it's not just one medium. I'm creating on a constant basis and like really developing a distinct style so that like anyone in the world can say that's Sadie's.
Right. That's a Sadie piece. And you kind of do that. I mean, definitely you do have a distinct style, especially with your like postcards and those things you've done.
Yeah,
so, That's very Sadie.
Yeah. And that comes from years. So like as a young artist, I was like really like, why don't I have a style? How do I do that?
By doing.
Just keep doing.
You do it by doing.
And then now I'm 30 and I'm like, oh, well, in the back of my mind, I kind of knew by the time I was 30, it would hit.
Right.
And I'm glad it just takes time.
I feel like 20s is just about like finding what your path is and like exploring options, and then 30s is about like honing in on what you discovered and what you find that is fulfilling and satisfying for you. So it sounds like you're right in time with all of that.
Yeah, I sure am. And I got the house, like I got, I did everything that I wanted to do. Actually, there was about a month in between here after I had my big month. I kind of crashed and was like, what do I do now?
You're like, oh my God, plateau.
What do I do now? Like, what do I want? Like, I don't even know.
You got to be happy on the journey because people have like only happy at the destination, and then you're just not happy anymore. You need something more. So it's about finding joy in the present, the whole journey.
And so I'm really looking for balance. I want to be able to tattoo using a machine, and my handpoke skills to make me like really niche, and like that's part of developing a style. I want to be able to go. I want to travel with it. Tattoo's a great means for travel.
Oh, hell yeah. Then you still get that itch scratched.
That's right. That gets to come full circle. I get to call some people that I knew. Korea. I could go to Korea. I could go stay with all the friends I've met all these years. And so like I like this as a means for travel. Just continuing to develop an art style and use all the business stuff in the life coaching.
Yeah, that's critical to drive the creative stuff. So many creatives don't have that side, unfortunately. But like having both of that puts you at such an advantage where you could create cool shit and then know how to like market and actually make something out of it that's sustainable.
And when you're tattooing, you're listening to your client. You're listening to your ideal market.
Right.
Every day I'm spending 3 hours.
Feedback, market validation, all that stuff.
I know my ideal. I know my audience. I talk to them for 3 hours. I learn their likes, their dislikes, what they're listening to, what they wear, and so it's just like,
I'm going to create something for that.
I know that that's valuable. I don't think that a lot of tattooers, they're tattooing, they're not thinking about that. And I think that that's something that's like really interesting, especially at this shop where we have all women non-binary. And they're all pretty young. Everybody's pretty young. And they're all on a very similar journey where it's like, how do we start learning these skills? Because tattooers are not taught these skills. And there are tattooers that are stuck in their ways, that are like, that part of the world was not existing when I learned to tattoo.
Right.
And so I'm not going to do it.
Right.
And so I think
stubborn old school.
We're in a very new school type shop.
You got spongy, like you're like willing to try new things and learn and actually change your ways to be better.
Yeah, even just being an all-female, non-binary, like queer shop is very like against the grain in the tattoo world, and it's positioned us in like a very interesting. We get a very wide variety of clients that otherwise would not normally get tattooed, and we are open to doing some of the things that old school shops are not doing in terms of marketing, internet, using the internet, using social media, things like that.
Which are so helpful in 2024. I always say like right now in history is the best time to get yourself out there, because you used to have to pay so much money to get like on a billboard or a TV commercial.
Yep.
The barrier to entry of just like getting your stuff out there was so much higher. Now it's so accessible to everybody. And if you're not using that, then you're just a fool.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of artists that would never even like touch an iPad. They think we're losers for using iPads. And I'm like, dude,
We're just being
I'm
smarter.
done. I'm done.
I'm done. You're still working. I'm going to go hang out and have fun with my friends because I just bought myself time.
And don't get me wrong, I love drawing. I think tattooers that draw all their tattoos on paper are fucking amazing. But as long as you're not like, well, fuck you for using an iPad.
Yeah, exactly. Just let people do the thing that works for them.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Just do it.
Yeah, that's why I even say, like, even for entrepreneurs or people when I say, like, I'm living the life of my dreams, I'm like, some people just want to work jobs and are happy. And as long as you're happy, stay there. Like, that's cool. I just encourage everyone to chase what actually makes you happy.
Yeah.
So, and also don't shit on other people who are doing a different thing. As long as it's not bothering anyone.
It's not bothering anyone. Yeah.
So leave alone people who use social media and technology.
Yeah, because we're just using technology, and like it's that work hard, work smarter, not harder.
The aliens will be proud of us.
The aliens will be proud of us.
And they are.
Okay, we're almost done here.
Yeah. So
are you
all
liking it?
No, I love it. Love what we got here. We're creating content.
You want that black?
Yeah.
You want that straight black?
Yeah, we gotta have that black.
All right, sick.
So, all right, well, I'll let you focus on this. So I'm gonna wrap up here at the podcast and just say, first of all, so stoked for you and all the progress you've made in your life, and it's a wonderful journey, and I know it'll only continue to blossom from here. So keep doing the thing you're doing, and let people know where they can find you on the webs and in person.
Oh, okay. My Instagram is Sadie_sticks with an X, so it's STIX. You can find me at Now and Forever Tattoo Shop in Philadelphia. We're on Front Street. There are 13 of us, and there's a lot of great art coming out of here, so I encourage everyone to check out the shop. The shop's Instagram is Now and Forever Tattoo. And that's really it. I'm an Instagram girl. I'm not really on TikTok right now.
I like Instagram. One last question I have for you to wrap is, what is a final piece of advice you have for anyone who maybe doesn't have a clear path in life? They're trying to figure things out and maybe they're overwhelmed. What's a piece of advice you have for someone who's just figuring it out?
Make your steps forward very small and doable.
Set yourself up for success.
I've said it several times throughout this. It's like the whole meet yourself where you're at. Crystal met me where I'm at. These little things so like I had a friend who was stuck the other day. She's building a website. Didn't feel like doing anything. And I said, what can you do from the couch?
Right.
What
that
can you
propels you
do?
to 1%.
You're not feeling well. You're on the couch anyway. Like, what can you do from the couch that's going to get you into movement?
Right.
It's really
right.
about like just the more you do, the more you like.
It's a practice.
Move forward. It creates energy that helps you propel forward. And the more I moved forward, the more people I met. The more people I met, the more things I learned. The more things I learned, the more things that I wanted to do, and that helped inform my path.
Just steps at a time. Trail of breadcrumbs.
Staying stagnant, even in any sense of the word, isn't gonna like get you closer, basically. And so if you
then you get upset
even
with
if
yourself.
it's just taking a shower, it's the
Just
littlest,
do a
tiniest things.
to move forward.
It's so tiny, and they make a huge difference, and they'll help you figure your path out. And then I journal a lot.
Yeah, me too.
You know, everyone's sick of hearing it, but it does work.
No, really, everyone should journal.
Everyone
Just
should
get it out
journal.
of your head and onto paper.
Yeah,
it
it's
clears
really
up your headspace. I promise.
journaling a lot. Our community is helpful, but
Right,
that comes
bounce-
with the people. You know, you
bounce
got to keep
ideas
meeting
off-
people.
Exactly. Get out there and stimulate yourself.
And if you're not, because you're an introvert, that's what the internet's for. You don't even need to show your face anymore to have a conversation.
Exactly.
You can talk to someone completely anonymous, and that might be the person you need to talk to.
Right. So, like you're saying, there's always a way to meet yourself where you're at. No excuses. Get out there and make it happen, everybody.
Yeah, you can do it.
You can do it. Well, thank you, Sadie. This has been awesome. I love you.
I love you.
And look forward to seeing the path ahead.
Hell yeah, hopefully this tattoo doesn't look like shit.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.